शारदा माता सरस्वती शारदा विद्यादानी दयानी दुख हरिणी जगत जननी ज्वालामुखी माता सरस्वती शारदा माता सरस्वती शारदा कीजे सुदृष्टि कीजे सुदृष्टि सेवक जान अपना इतना वरदान दे ताल ताल और अलाप बुद्धि अलंकार शारदा माता सरस्वती शारदा विद्यादानी दयानी दुख हरिणी जगत जननी ज्वालामुखी माता सरस्वती शारदा.
Authors here on the stage, and we can begin today's conversation. I have a very difficult task of having to summarize all their achievements and proceeding with the event. So, because it's going to take a while to do that. So, I'm going to start by introducing all of our authors and panelists today. We have Mrs. Astha Dixit Joshi. She's a versatile dancer and a choreographer. She's specialized in the practice of Sufi dancing and Kathak dancing. She's acted in the Telugu film industry, and she's like multi-talented. She's gotten TVC awards for the best choreographer and best dancer in 2021, and she leads her own dancing team around the world. In addition to that, she's also a TEDx speaker and an author, obviously. So we are privileged to have you here with us today. We have Mrs. Madhavi Advani, who is a luxury consultant, and she specializes in the areas of lifestyle and luxury, interior design, real estate, and we are very privileged to have her with us today. She has a series and strings of awards. To name a few, she has been named the Woman Influencer in the Luxury segment supported by the Ministry of MSME and UN Women and many other industry partners at the PhD. She's got the Exceptional Women of Excellence Award at the World Economic Forum. She's got the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar National Award in 2018 for Social Justice and Olympism through the luxury consultancy field. She's got the Priyadarshini Awards for Outstanding Women Entrepreneurs. So that's just to name a few, by the way. And to the extreme left is Dr. Jyoti. My apologies. To the extreme left we have Dr. Jyoti Singh, who started off her career as an academic. She taught at the National Law Institute, University Bhopal, the NLU Delhi. She was the communications director there, and she has had a long time training and coaching law students for interviews and placements and those sort of things. And then she pivoted her career into art and writing. So she's a distinguished painter who's exhibited at IGNCA and Lalit Kala Academy, and she's also now an author who's published her debut book, The Legends of the Muddled, and also independently doing some interior design consulting. So we have very diverse personalities with us today. Off the bat, let's just get a general question from all our authors today before we can get into the specifics of their work. So I'll just start with one basic question for all our authors today. What inspired you to write the book, and what challenged you in the process of writing? We'll start with you, ma'am, and then we can proceed.
Warm welcome to all of you. So if I go back when I wrote the book, first of all I would like to tell you that it has been pretty challenging in those times. Mine is a motivating book. It's a self-help book, and way back in those times, we didn't have the easy accessibility of writing even a self-help book. So like nowadays, I keep seeing a lot of these things popping up on Facebook that you can be an author, we can get your ghost writer to write a book. So it has been very, very challenging in those times when I authored the book. The new generation is much more lucky now. And I have gone with a friend of mine, Ritu, who also happens to be an author now, by the way. And we went to attend a workshop on writing a book. My kids were young, I was multitasking, and I was freelancing into things which I could do at that time. I was always very creative. So I attended this workshop by, Serene Woods. There used to be this company called Serene Woods, and they used to publish self-help books. And I got into the idea of writing this book. So that's been the way how I started writing on a book. Other things I'll discuss with you when we come on the topic. Thank you.
Some challenges along the way, maybe.
Okay, so I'll go now. Joshi, and I'm very nervous today. So my book is a memoir and a personal journey, and it's called Door to Heaven. So it's easier for me to describe it if I just read one of the editorial reviews. There's been a lot of blurbs about it, so something like this is a little tough to summarize. But an editorial review said, Door to Heaven by Astha Dixit is a captivating self-help memoir that blends profound spiritual insights and a compelling personal journey, offering readers an inspiring roadmap to pursue their dreams and discover their true purpose in life. So that's a lot of words, but I can say yes, it's a journey about finding myself through my art form of Kathak. Many of you know the Kathak art form. It's the most beautiful thing in the world to see, and it's always my desire to actually show my dance. But today I'm speaking in front of you, and that's why I'm so nervous. But as you all know, this journey has a lot of struggles. All artists go through a lot of struggle to establish themselves, to be known, and to reach a certain caliber. They have to struggle. So through this struggle, actually, I found myself. I thought I lost myself, but I found myself. And I realized the true purpose of my life in my journey can be then to help motivate others and to inspire them to find their passion, as I found mine in dance, and to find themselves as well. So that's in short what my book is about.
I suppose writing a memoir is a deeply personal journey. So I don't want to overstep, but do you think there were areas where you found it challenging to go over them again because you were writing a memoir? And what do you think is one thing that you want your readers to take away from the book? Because you said it's been written with the objective of inspiring people, right?
Absolutely.
So what's the one key takeaway? It's not fair to try to summarize the key takeaway from a complex book, but why don't we go over that?
So first I'd like to actually talk about the struggle. The struggles, yes, there were many chapters that were a struggle, but actually the whole process itself was a struggle because as it was healing me, it was also bringing out a lot of things. But then again, like I said, my path was to inspire and motivate others. So I kept going, and I wasn't alone. I had help. I had some great people behind me. Some of them are here, some of them are not. So it took a lot of courage to share that personal story, and it has its own path. Now my story is about telling people that there is light at the end of the dark tunnel. So there is no heaven or hell, in reality it's all here. It's not after we go somewhere or after we pass away, it's all here. So it's what you make of life. But the struggles show you that doorway to heaven, and we can find those moments of happiness through perseverance and through following our dreams and our passion, which is how I found mine, those moments of happiness. And that became my doorway to heaven.
So have you...
No heaven or hell. It's how we are moment to moment in our lives, it's what we make of our lives. And also how we react to things. Our circumstances, as most of us know, are not in our control most of the time. but how we accept our circumstances and what kind of a positive attitude we bring to them is really how we create our heaven on earth. So, but my book is really the whole journey of dance, also as an actress in Telugu cinema and many various shows internationally, Royal Opera House and worldwide. But how that I was soaking in that art form of Kathak and how I was finding my heaven step by step, and then how I reached the end, which is the end of the book is kind of a surprise, you know. It's the wrapping of it all and the lessons I learned through that.
Archiving our personal journeys. The title of Madhavi ji's book is also What Life Taught Me, Mantras for Success. So I would ask a similar set of questions to you, that it must have involved personal journey archiving even for you. So what is something that you want your readers to take away? What were the challenges you faced from a personal view in writing this book?
So basically, I was going through my own challenges at that time, bringing up two children, adjusting in a family which is completely contrast to the family where you're born and brought up, and multitasking, work-life balance. So I used to be reading a lot of self-help books myself and Speaking Tree, and I also read The Secret. So a lot of it was also coming in my book through all those that I was reading. Indirectly I was imbibing it and writing it in my book as well. And I would write it. Suddenly in the middle of the night I will think about something and I would just get up and start penning it down, because I feel that whatever I'm thinking right now, I may forget it by tomorrow morning. So I need to just pen it down right now, right away. So all those ideas and things, and the thing that it was challenging because finding a publisher and then for editing, I knew what I want to express, but it was not being able to be communicated to the person whom I was suggested to do it. And ultimately, I will really thank my husband for it, despite of being very busy. And from his busy schedule, he took out the time. And the way he understood me, I think the editor was not able to kind of get it. Though he was one of the best, suggested by another friend of mine who's an editor in a very big publishing house. She was the one who suggested me that why don't you start writing? And that's how it came that maybe I think I should start on it. And whatever I was writing, it all came true in my own life eventually. And so because so my husband being an investment banker and an SRCC graduate, so all that, refining it came all through him. So expression is all mine. I feel it all from my heart. But I think I wasn't that good to kind of express it in a very professional language. And finally it turned out to be like a Bible to me, and I think to many more people, because I reread it many times. There are so many things which you can kind of revise it off and on with time, the highs and lows of life that we go through. Whenever I used to have an event, I used to be at the high peak of my life, and suddenly next day I feel, oh my God, there's nothing, it's all gone. The fame, name, everything is there for a day. Like today we are here, tomorrow suddenly it will be all gone. So managing the highs and lows, and there's so many gratitude, there's so many chapters, and it's only one chapter at a day. Don't have to read the whole book. It's a very, very small book, just 80 pages. So even if you just read one chapter, you'll feel really nice about it, and you'll come out to be more positive and more recharged. So that's it.
So thank you for that. Now the last book that we have here in order of introduction is a book that the genre of which can be described as historical fiction, I suppose. It's called The Legends of the Muddled. There are a series of fictional stories from very specifically noted down instances from zamindari families in eastern UP and Bihar. So Dr. Jyoti Singh has authored that. I'll ask you two questions. What inspired you to write the book? What did you learn about history? And what challenged you in the book writing process? So, and obviously before you answer these questions, give a brief about the book.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my book is called The Legends of Muddled. And before I start answering the questions that he's put forth to me, Let me tell you, he's my son. And I almost thought that he's decided to ignore me because we had a major fight on the way. So I thought he's decided to ignore me. Having said that, that's just a joke. Because I'm that second question, third question, and my introduction has also not happened. But okay, that's just a joke. So
I have to be unbiased in my defense.
You played this role. You played that role very well.
We're just so happy to have
So thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure to have Sir.
Family fight at home.
It's all
Just for a bit of
okay.
humor.
Yes,
and,
true.
And I'm an author, so I observe every little thing, So that is how I thought, let me just talk about that. So my book, The Legends of Muddled, is an anthology of short stories. Why did I write the book? Well, there's a little bit of a tragedy associated with my life. In 2020s, I lost my husband. And after I lost him and after all the punitive rituals were over, we as a family, I, Raj and my elder son, Jyoti, we used to sit together all huddled up because it happened in winters. So we used to sit together all huddled up and miss Sanjeev, that's my husband-in-law. So what inspired and motivated me? Motivation was to keep his stories alive because he was a very funny person who used to keep us regaled with all the short stories of all the characters that he had ever come across in his life. So chronicling his story became a way of connecting with him in the times that we were really missing. First motivation was that. Second motivation was that I hated those pathetic glances that used to come my way, as if I was some kind of a bichari. I always steadfastly stood against any kind of bicharapan being associated with me. Somebody very famously said that I'd rather be a bitch than be a bichari, and that applies to me. I mean, treat me and call me whatever you want to call me, but don't call me a bichari. So second motivation was to stand tall, be a motivation and inspiration for my own sons, who were very young when this happened, and they were all struggling. So I decided, let me lead by example. So this was the hobby part of it. So I became an inspiration for them, telling them that your hobby should also not ever be given given a second. It should be given the same kind of importance as your job, your profession is given. So while I was establishing myself as an artist, as a real estate person, I have my own interior design company, I have my own interiors brand. I was establishing all of it. So all this happened in 4 years. While I was doing all of it, I never gave up on my passion, which was writing, and which was also painting and art. So these were the motivations. How did it affect me? The process, I don't know whether the process affected me, but the process of writing book coincided with all the things that I just said. That affected me in a way that I realized that Darwin was the only person who said something right. It's survival of the fittest. If you are not the fittest, sorry, you will be miserable. So that awakening happened that come what may, I have to be the fittest. Second, we all have those cliched babies in us. You have to tap the right one at the right time. So maybe all this while I had Saraswati ji in me, I had to tap the Durga in me. And believe me, I did that. Today, the people who've known me before Sanjeev and after Sanjeev, they used to associate me as, they used to look at me and say, oh, she's so reserved and she's so snooty, she doesn't mix around, she doesn't meet people. Now, I'm ready for a street fight also. So that's the change and that's the transformation that has come into me. I think I've answered it all.
Yes.
Jyoti and Sanjeev together. So hats off to those and really an inspiration, I must say.
We gave you a new word today, word of the day, Bichari, B-I-T-C-H.
Thank you.
It's a new word now.
And I love what you said about I had some Saraswati, but now I'm doing yes. Fabulous. Fantastic. I'm going to remember that one. So I also wanted to just answer that one as what inspired me. Actually, there's more than one person. One of them was my mother who told me that your life deserves at least one full-length, full book, end to end, and hopefully a bestseller. And I'm planning to write my second now as well. So that's what inspired me. But when I started writing, it was so tough. But as the chapters started coming out, it just became easier and easier. And I feel like the writing journey is so powerful for anybody. Everyone should actually experience it. Is it okay if I say a little bit about myself? So my journey is that I grew up in the West Coast in California, and I left a lucrative career in computer engineering. I graduated from UCLA as a computer engineer, and I had the privilege of traveling everywhere in the world already, but my calling was dance. So it took a leap of faith to really choose that, and that was my passion. But it's much more than my passion. It's my mission in life, and it's my career now. So, and that has been acting and dance both simultaneously, hand in hand, have become my career. So I'm very fortunate to have had that turning point, in my life where I chose my passion and then I hung on to it and I followed it with a deep fire within, and that's what I'm here to, motivate and talk about. So
I think there is an actor in everybody of us, there's an author in all of us, there's a model there. And I'm fortunate to say that I've been there and done all these industries. Sarita ji is here. So I was fortunate to be a part of theatre with the Sarita ji living room theatre. My son is here, Arjun. So thanks to him that I got into
coming back to me.
Yeah, so I got into theatre, and then I've also walked the ramp with Anshna Pujala ji. I've been on a TV serial, Mum Tum Aur Hum, with my daughter on Star TV. So I've done it all, and I think everybody should write a book, I feel. Because we all have an author in us, we all have an actor, as I said. So I think, it's a beautiful journey.
So you're only authoring, not ghostwriting. It's co-authoring.
publishing is the whole process can be challenging. I mean, publishing is a long process, and yeah. So I've answered as the next question. I think that it starts with, for me, compiling the compilation for a memoir as a personal journey is very tough. That took a long time. I had a lot of help with that, but then from there, I found my professional editor. I'm so privileged that she's here with us today. She's sitting here. What I really want to say, Anu Chatra, do you want to stand up so that everyone can see you? She's the professional editor of Door to Heaven, my book. So all of you read it today, and when you read it, you'll see that the dedication and with what thought each lesson, every story, and how hard we worked on it really together as a team. So that process is very challenging. But what I wanted to agree with what we were saying here was that everyone should write a book, even if you don't publish it right away. But your thoughts, it's a healing process. Get it on paper. And yeah, it's very healing.
I just have one question for you before we move to the next part of this round. How was it, because California is the most liberal part of Western civilization, then moving from there to the Telugu film industry, it's been quite a journey. You must have met so many diverse types of people. Just tell us a little bit about the adaptation process, then we can move to more about publishing and the logistics of book writing.
Sure. No, the adaptation was not difficult for me because I came here to follow my passion, actually. So someone might come here and think about, oh my God, the pollution or the traffic, or it's so hot, and coming from obviously a very nice lifestyle on the west coast of California, which is the dream place to live and a dream job. But here I immediately immersed myself into the arts and working with great maestros of the arts. And some of them are also here. My guru is also here in dance, and hopefully I'll get to introduce her later. And she's on her way actually. But I working with these personalities in the Kathak field and just being immersed in music and dance and in Saraswati's grace all day long, I didn't feel a thing. I didn't feel the culture shock. I didn't feel anything, and the pollution or anything. So I think it's all about really doing what we love, letting that guide us.
I'll ask one to Dr. Jyoti, my mother. I used to observe growing up that my mom would love archiving things on her iPhone Notes app. So, and I feel like because we all have an aspiring author in us, I'm sure there's many in the audience here today. So, Ma, how does somebody go from starting to archive things maybe on their cell phone, maybe in their notepad, maybe on their laptops, the compiling, the cataloging, and then the book writing, and then finally sending it to the publisher. Because there is such an intimidating wall behind the book writing process, and that's a big crowding out for a lot of people. So why don't you take us through that?
The first and foremost is to write a book. Second, write a cover story and send it to the respective publishers. I avoided the big four in the business because I'd heard a lot of horror stories about them. It's like quid pro quo. You rub my back, I rub your back. So my husband was one of the top cops of the country. He was one of the most celebrated IPS officer of this country. I knew if he was around, I would have gotten a very good publishing house. Believe me, because he could have promised them something in return. Sorry, I may be wrong, but that is my personal opinion.
You're 100% right.
So, second step was to be a published author, which I wasn't. I had to have the first to get to reach out to them. So I was in that mad rush when I was Googling all over about the publishers and publishing houses. I came across the Walnut publication. Believe me, they're very good. Please reach out to them. And they are new in the country, but they have offices in New York, London, Delhi and Bhubaneswar. These are the 4 places they have the offices in. They're excellent. They are a batch of young kids who are trying to, it's a kind of startup. They're trying to push the authors in whatever ways they can. Second most important thing is to have a good editor. And my editor is a little girl called Adya who's right here. Adya, just
please
say hi. And she has helped me through my editing because I may sound a little arrogant, but I thought I was doing a better job than the editors who were kind of sent to me or recommended to me. They were making a mess of my narrative and the way the flow of my stories were going. So despite hiring a few, I decided no, I and Adu can do the best job. So we thrashed through it. So these are the basic stages. Write, look for the right publisher, write a nice cover story, look for the editor who can understand you. So this is how probably a book takes a shape. That's been my journey. Thank God it wasn't difficult at all, but this is how it functioned for me and worked for me.
Yes, and how you went about it.
Similar, actually, I would say. There's nothing new that one person would have gone through than the same process. And even till now, actually, a lot of people who are sitting in the audience will know that there is a post by me every day on Instagram or on my social media because I continue to love writing. But it has changed to writing on my updates about everyday whatever that I do. So it's been more or less the similar thing, and also writing, rewriting, it takes a lot of time. For completing one book, which is only 80 pages, it took me about a year because I used to write, I used to rewrite, I used to kind of just feel, no, this is not still up to the mark, this is still not what I exactly want. So all that goes through it. And connecting the publisher, I was fortunate that Sri Woods was there and they happily did it. After that also there is a lot of self-publishing company, you have to work a lot hard from your own side, which I never did much, but yeah, I'm just glad, even if it can reach out to my close ones, I'll be happy because there is a lot of learning in the whole thing in a very beautiful way. Like it's not teaching you something, and I was fortunate to get a forward by the editor of HT City, Sonal Kalra.
I mean, actually the whole process, it was really tough. So, firstly, I was talking about my professional editor. So so I had compiled the book and I had a lot of help in compiling it. From the mess it was, making some sense of it, the order of it. And then when I sent it to her, she looked through it and she agreed to work with me, and I'm still shocked about that. I mean, I'm amazed. So thank you. So then she did 3 to 4 revisions of it, which was a lot of back and forth between us. And again, I was not in the country, I was abroad in the US, and for much of the time, part of it in the UK, in London during COVID time. That's when actually the editing was happening during the COVID time. And it took about a year, I think. More than that, I was going to get to that. So then we looked at it together and we said, let's do yet one more revision. And that took yet, I think, another half a year at least, yeah. So it took a long time. So, I mean, hats off to her for the patience and that what she showed with each chapter. We have started each chapter with a quotation, and so, you know, the fine tuning, and then the lessons had to be kind of, areas of the story had to be really emphasized through bold letters. We brought out the lessons throughout the chapters. And each T had to be crossed, each I had to be dotted, and the facts had to be cross-checked, and she was very meticulous with that. So the whole process was really, really, from fact-checking to, you know, dotting each I, really meticulous process. But I think that's what gives you a product that you can talk about. And so therefore I really encourage you guys to pick up this book, and if even just for the cover and the layout, I mean, and the pictures and the story, it's all, because then we had the layout process. I chose Zora books for my, if the book is self-published, so we've been through this process where the big giants, we don't want to work with them, you know, so we want to take the headache on ourselves. But also because there you have the freedom. You have the freedom to make the book what you want, and, you know, and also the editing process can be yours. So we did that way, but I chose Zora to design the book cover and the layout, and so it's full of photographs of my dancing, my gurus, and I really touch their feet and owe my success and my total gratitude to them, all my gurus who are here also today. All of the photographs, the awards and the stages and the Middle East that I performed, the opera houses in Oman, Kuwait, Muscat, in Bahrain for the ambassador, for Lebanon, the Baalbek International Festival, and in in Lebanon again, the Forum de Beirut, and all these countries were performed, and Royal Opera House in Beijing, China, beautiful egg-shaped building which is half underwater. So we had our ballets and operas in all these places where my team performed. So I traveled with artists from India. So at least 12 to 16 artists I took to all these countries, along with Europe and in the US. So we had like series of tours. We must have done 40 productions a year, and we were traveling throughout. And the recordings of these productions was happening. The music was being recorded, and I was a part of that process as well. So dance gives you so much freedom, you know, creative freedom, and also the ability to fly everywhere. It literally gave me the ability to fly, you know, and I really feel that I owe it to this path that I chose, that I have this freedom in life to travel everywhere I want, and something I would not have had sitting in that cubicle in Silicon Valley, right? So yeah, so the whole process is quite complex, but at the same time, you know, when it came to publishing, the book was actually put in 18 different countries. I chose the international publishing. So in 18 countries on Amazons and Barnes & Nobles and Flipkarts and Goodreads everywhere. So, you know, it took about 3 to 4 months, but after some time it was internationally published. And with a lot of kind of effort of ours, we also got it to be in the bestseller list of Kindle this year. And that was such a pleasure to see it up there at number 1. And that was the greatest day, like, moment of, you know, my life this year, other than my becoming a mother. So that my baby's there also in the back. And yeah, so I became a mother last year in December. So she's turned 1 now. So all this is, the book was published, you know, during all these beautiful things happening in my life. And I think it just kind of gave it the push for me to do this finally. So yes, I would really, really love to hear your comments and feedback as you read this and how you felt.
So I'll just divert a little to a personal account. I remember somebody casually remarking, and I'm assuming that the whole audience is comfortable with Hindi. So somebody remarked once in my family कि एक कामयाब इंसान को, कामयाब आदमी को एक किताब लिखनी चाहिए और एक अपना घर बनाना चाहिए. And I'll just amend that today, that we can replace Kamyab Aadmi with Kamyab Insan, because we have 3 women authors with us today. I feel like that was the elephant in the room that we haven't addressed, that we are all sitting here with women authors. There are like barriers to entry in every profession, right? And especially a profession which is not so easily accessible to the average person. So an attempt of mine was to sort of cut the clutter around these questions that you have, that how do I write my first book, how do I get into publishing, How do I, how do I move from being somebody who archives my life on a notes app to going to being where you guys are seated? So, sorry for the basic question, but how is it being a woman author in India in the 21st century? Because it's an obvious one. I would be doing a disservice if I don't ask this one. We can go in order again, however you guys prefer it.
I think it rocks. I'm not going to, put forth a sob story that, just because I was a woman, I suffered. I didn't suffer at all. It was beautiful. It was a very nice journey. Whoever I came across, they encouraged me. And so much so that I have been to a lot of platforms where I'm called to kind of say things which were not probably easy for me just because I was a woman. I only told them, sorry, I'm not cut out for that. I'm here to assert that as a woman, my journey has been excellent and very smooth. My only take is that if you call a woman a Shakti, Shakti is already Sashakt. उस शक्ति को कितना सशक्त करोगे? तो like I always keep telling everybody, tap the Durga in you, tap the Kali in you, tap the Saraswati in you. So we have that power in us. We just have to be aware of that power and take the world by the horns and move ahead. That has been my mantra. I'm a daughter of an extremely fiercely feminist mom. So weeping and behaving like damsel in distress was something I never learned. Until date, that is probably, if I see a woman acting, I can understand circumstances cannot be as smooth as mine. Yet I feel, damn it, get out of it. Go, fight, struggle. You will find somebody who will help you. If you don't find anybody who can help you, come to me, I'll guide you. Don't cry over being a woman. That's my take.
For me, I think I would like to say that women have been big supporters in my life, especially my friends. My dear friend Ritu is here, who introduced me to writing this book, and she was very supportive that yes, you must write it. And once after authoring the book also, I told Ritu that I've been reading so many self-help books that somehow I feel indirectly I've imbibed it all and I've written it somewhat similar to what everybody is writing, because the topic is the same, stay positive, stay strong, follow your passion, all that, spirituality, what I felt personally. So she said, Ritu, that Madhavi, A to Z have the same letters and you twist and turn them and write them, it makes the same thing. And that made me so relieved, and which probably nobody would have explained it so beautifully, that how she did it. And same year till now, my friends are a big support to me. Harmonica is here for the book discussion today. Vicky has been always guiding me on the business part of it because she has been a successful businesswoman, and my luxury club members are here. So it's I think women supporting women each other, and we are 1 and 1, 11, and we are really strong. So Astha, we collaborated this event so beautifully just within a week. So we were all on the same wavelength, and all 3 women, you see them here. Yes, and also for the book, I would like to tell you a very, very interesting thing, that when I was writing a book, I had no idea that how it's going to help me professionally. Eventually, I realized that it helps you in your profile. People started hiring me on board with them just because I was also an author. Especially for international client, I have been on board with a celebrity wedding designer called Angelo Garini from Italy. And I was really surprised at how come they've got me on board for their industry, which is the wedding industry, which is a completely new industry to me. And he said, we have done a Google research on you, and you also happen to be an author. That was one criteria. You have been a pilot. I have a student's pilot license. So things like which didn't, I didn't know these are all profiling, and this helps in your profile. So as a woman, there are things, I would love to be born as a woman again next birth also. Because I've been in the industries where there have been no men. I was a pioneer, one of the pioneers to be in the real estate industry. I've thoroughly enjoyed. I have been ex-Taj. So Taj is all women. So it's been beautiful.
A lot of authors here today, not just the 3 of us, that's what I'm sensing. There's a lot of stories to be told. And if I could tell mine, you can tell yours. So I think other than the things we've already discussed about the process of publishing and everything, it's a time-consuming process, no doubt, but it is, like I said, it's an internal process which heals you, but also it is like a business card. You're right, like when you meet people, it's a lot of credibility when you say you're an author of a book, and especially a best-selling author, and if your book is available worldwide, you can have people get to know you immediately through your book. So it's like a business card for me. When I meet people, I say door to heaven, like, read the book and you'll know about me. So it's a great way to connect with people, and we all must share our stories. It's we all have purpose to our lives, and believe it or not, so we all have a story to tell. And I realized that when I shared mine, and I hope that you feel the same when you read it. That it might, it may make you want to write yours. Just writing itself is the beginning itself.
And I just, I think everyone has a story, and from your own book that you author, you know a lot about that person. I think when you will read my book or Astha's book or Jyoti's book, I think you will realize a lot about us as personalities, the kind of person we are. I think it shows a lot about your personal side.
I think to add to that, because you have a personal memoir, your book is like a mantra of success. And my mom's book is also touching along the lines of historical fiction. So there's a lot of reality in these works. So none of it, even despite the fact that the legends of the Muddled might end up in the historical fiction area, none of these are truly fiction. There's always a lot to learn from it. I think one thing that we might be able to achieve out of this gathering today is that I've always felt that we move towards times of complexity discounting. We don't really like complexity anymore. You're always being asked to shorten things, make a paragraph into a sentence into a 10-second Instagram reel. And in those times, it's all the more crucial task to sort of motivate people to not lose the complexity and express your works through large paragraphs, fat books that should cross 1,000 pages. Anyway, I have one more question to my mom, and then we can proceed to the next question. Do you have because it's a fiction book, do you have a favorite character and a story from it that you want to share with the audience?
My book is an anthology of 11 short stories. Those stories came to me from my husband. Every time he used to narrate those characters of his village, he would laugh and he would be in splits while talking about them. So when I lost him, it was our way to connect with him. So those are basically 11 characters that he painted for me visibly. But the nuances that I've added to those characters have made them mine too. They're all my favorites, but if I have to choose two, one would be Nanka and the other would be Channu Babu. Nanka, and another thing about all the characters is they're those fumbling, mumbling, goofy humans with those, quirky idiosyncrasies. So, and here, like we were just saying that, when we read somebody's book, we do get to know a lot about the author. So maybe you'll get to know that I have the propensity of writing about the dark horses, maybe. I shy away from perfection in terms of storytelling, because perfection can be a little boring. So I look for those idiosyncrasies and those. So all my protagonists are flawed protagonists. They are all goofy people, and that makes them extremely endearing. So why Nanka and Channu Babu are two of my favorite? Nanka is this little kid who is a repertoire of maybe misdemeanors, innocent misdemeanors. Suddenly he grows up into this extremely intelligent, serious, responsible human being, and he rises to the levels that probably very few bureaucrats reach to. So Nanka is number one. Nanka is my favorite because of the transformation. Second favorite is Channu Babu. Channu Babu is born in late 19th century. Maybe he must have been around 1894 to 1900 and maybe 20 or something. So Channu Babu is a person who has this swag and chutzpah. He is, somebody called him a necessary evil. He's a bag of everything negative, yet he is so likable. I'm not trying to push a negative protagonist. I won't call him an antagonist, just because of the way he lives his life, the way he conducts himself, and the way he materializes the goals that he has set for himself. That in itself makes him so endearing. In the process, of course, he makes a lot of flaws, lots of mistakes, and probably that's why he's my special character. So these are two of my favorite characters. Thank you, Raj.
TEDx speaker also. So to move forward, when are we getting to hear your next TED Talk? And tell us about a little bit about your experience. Was it 2021 when you delivered the TED Talk? So tell us a little bit about that, please.
Moment, and it, also the preparation of it. Again, it was one of these moments where I flew in from the US to Baroda. I came to Delhi, then I flew to Baroda. It was in the Podar University in Baroda, and they had invited me there. And it was just overnight stay and delivered next day at this beautiful auditorium. But the platform itself is so powerful, where you can say what you really, really mean, and and what you want to deliver to other people. And my story, the theme was passion was my leap of faith. So we all carry around, we don't even realize, so many other people's passions. Sometimes we're like promoting other people's passions. But how beautiful would it be if you could follow your own dream, live your own passion. And the example I gave was we carry a phone around, it's an iPhone, it's Steve Jobs' passion, we're like promoting that. But how about if we are living the life of our own dreams, not following somebody else's passion, but our own passion, So that's really been the motto of my life, and as challenging as it is, sometimes you just feel like you can't go on, but there's a motivation within, there's a fire to go on. So that was my TEDx speech in short. It's there on YouTube, you can see it, called Passion Was My Leap of Faith. And so that's my question.
Speaking of promoting passions, you are all requested to promote all the 3 books.
Actually, to be honest, when I authored this book, at that time my life was not this. So it has all come true through my book. Whatever I have authored in the book, it has all happened in real life with me. If you read it, people who are known to me, who are close to me, when they'll read it, they will know, yes, this is all about her own story. Like, बोलते ना मैं अपनी favorite को दी. So it's all about my journey, my book, my my views on spirituality, follow your passion, and all that I've been doing it. Otherwise, I think it's about time management. Even now, people tell me that how you're able to manage so many things, so many very verticals all together. But I think end of the day, it's about time management and work-life balance. So it's possible, especially in a country like ours. People say that अगर आप ये करोगे तो आप अपना घर पे ध्यान नहीं दोगे. अगर आप nowadays things are very different. But then when I was getting into these streams, I had all these pressures of my society, family, friends, everybody, Friends still what I say were encouraging, but otherwise from everywhere, they would say, no, you just be a homemaker and just look after the children, look after your family. You won't be able to manage doing both the things. But nowadays you look at the girls in our families, I'm so proud of them, and they're managing it and balancing it so beautifully. So I don't think so that women cannot multitask. In fact, they're much better than the men. So, they should be encouraged.
I also don't want to risk disagreeing any further with my mom.
Very well.
So I'd just like to take a moment also in the middle to thank our sponsors for today, because without them this event wouldn't have been possible. So we have with us our gift sponsor, which is Habib's. We have our media partner, Retrocop Lifestyle Magazine, Navdrishti Times, The Explore Journal, and Invoice Life. We also have with us Mr. Amit Virmani ji. He's a renowned multitasking personality who's a socialite, a fashion designer, and an influencer. We are very thankful to have you today with us. He represents Stable Technologies. They're pioneers in something very important, by the way. They make wearable air purifiers. Thank you for that. Their flagship product is a necklace air purifier, which has become a bestseller, and they are combining style and innovation together. So we are all thankful to our sponsors. Thank you for putting this event together. And
Also, thank you to Rajkumar ji, who's shooting us all in this video. Thank you for making it possible. And would like to invite
Mr. Amit Virmani to join us. We can take questions from the audience.
So Astha, I know you as a fairly spiritually inclined person. How has dance enhanced your spiritual journey?
I think in short, actually, it's the places I performed and the people I met. So dance is, of course, a mystical, it's a spiritual, religious dance form as well as spiritual. It's a way for us to connect with our inner self. It's a form of yoga where there's a union between us and our own soul when we dance. And that's the training, and the years of training goes into that. But the places where I performed throughout India, especially the temples and like Khajuraho, and also performing in the south and all the old temples there, the Rocky Shore Temple and Mamallapuram, and throughout India, even at Taj Mahotsav I performed with Saritaji, and performing in Jaipur, also performing at Ujjain. In the Utsav for the Kumbh Mela, they have so many different various places. I performed in Banaras on the ghats of the river. Also, I did a documentary in Maheshwar on the textiles with Muzaffar Ali Sahab a few years ago, and that was shot on the banks of the Narmada. So all of my dancing really had this connection from within. And the mudras and the gestures and the facial expressions, everything really tied it all in together to make dance my spiritual path. So it's all there in the book, and I trained in 2 different lineages of Kathak, Gharana as we call it. And initially my training was with Harish Gangani ji. He's from the Jaipur lineage. He hails from the family from Jaipur and from his father, Pandit Kundarlal Gangani. And then I had the privilege of working at the Kathak Kendra Repertory under Sangeet Natak Academy, Ministry of Culture, where we toured and performed all over the nation and abroad also in China. And then I met somebody very special to me, and I think she's on her way because she's coming straight from Kathak Kendra, and she's my guru Malti Sham. She's foremost, one of the oldest and direct disciple of Pandit Birju Maharaj, and she hails, and this is from the Lucknow Gharana. So she taught me a distinctly different style and really gave me a lot of love and affection along with the nuances, the nuances and the detailing of the dance. So there I felt like a complete dancer, and I was able to choreograph various ballets and tour all over the world, and I was able to enjoy the dance because it's all about enjoyment, So dance is a spiritual journey because when you dance, the dancer and the dance become one. And when you're enjoying it so thoroughly, there is no difference. There's a union between the dancer and dance. The subject and the object are one, right? So, and the audience is experiencing it, and you are also experiencing it, so it's bliss. So I can say that in short, that it's bliss for me. Thank you.
Here for Astha, definitely, and kudos to you, kudos to your journey, dear. So, I must say that the author of 14 books myself, being education is gradual. How to write the second book, it goes on and on. But if at all you are writing the second book, what is on the cards, and how it will be journalizing it, because you are in a blend of art as well as literature. That is very unique. How you get time to it. Once I read the book, I'll definitely get to know more about it. But what will be in your mind when you come to script your next one, if at all?
So glad you're here with us today, Nancy Juneja. She's she's the founder of Mentor X.
Yeah.
One of the founders.
Of course, all the kudos to Madhavi.
For introducing us and so many others.
On board with Netflix as well.
Yeah, Mentor X is, and so you said rightly, the blend of art and literature, very, very unique. It's very different. That's why this book was a challenge. But my deepest desire was that somebody can step into my shoes if they read it, and I think when you read it, you'll feel that. So, but your question about my next book is that I am bravely writing it. Actually, I'm recording it also. I'm using some voice recording technologies just to make it easier this time around. And simply, it's just it's going to be a short one. Just how you can follow your passion in life and how you can make it your career as well. So just a short, more like tips kind of a book. That's what I'm going for.
Giving back to society.
What I really liked about the book, it's like very funny, the stories are very engaging, and it really gets us into life with the characters. But what really stood out to me as a reader was your writing style. It was gripping, it was engaging, and it was very different from the current books, which are very abruptly written and simple language. You really have made a concentrated effort in how you have made descriptive images where we are really able to visualize the lives of the characters and really get into the frames. So as I think there are a lot of people here who aspire to write, what would be your advice for the writers to develop their writing style?
Thank you very much for asking me this question, because whoever has read my book, they have gotten back to me telling me that you have this knack of playing with words, and we find humor in your books at most unexpected places. So basically, if you are a storyteller, these things come naturally to you. Secondly, if you are from the literature background, you jolly well take your discipline more seriously. So because I'm a student of English literature, I think I had extra sensory observational skills and powers than probably anybody who is just talking off the rack. Thirdly, I stray clear of gyan giving. There are too many people giving gyans everywhere. Honestly, that's not me. I really want my book to reach out to, and another thing, when people tell me that we laughed, we were rolling when we were reading your book, that's the best compliment that can happen, that can come my way. So I wanted my book to be so light-hearted, yet English and the language is not compromised. Whether it's Hindi, Sanskrit, Telugu, English, whatever, please don't compromise on the language. Let the gravity of the language be there. People say simple writing and all, it's okay, but I'm not writing for kids, I'm writing for grown-ups. So I kind of steer clear of that also. Thirdly, just be honest to your way of writing and your way of being. So these are the few things that I would like to tell future authors. That has been my guiding mantra, and so far I think I have gotten a lot of feedback, which is generally positive from people. And these the feedback generally emanated from the fact that my language was good, there was humor, there was coherence, there was character. It's not like he was walking and he fell down. No, I will make it sound a little different, more exciting that he was going and he fell down. I'll add my English literature skills to it, and then probably create a sentence which is a little difficult, a little Shashi Tharoorish maybe, but not to that level, but yes.
I have a question for Dr. Jyoti. Why Muddled? Because I'm from the East myself, and I know that people there are quite sorted and happy in their, being. So why do you call it Muddled now?
Never gave it too much of thought, but the characters, if you read them, it's not about the area in toto. The characters, if you read, like I said, I only like people who are a little, flawed. So if you read the characters, you will realize that they're all a little muddled up in their head. And that's why probably, the legends of Muddleland. So the place is not Muddleland, place is Muddledy, but the people from Muddledy are a little muddled up, hence the name. Nothing to do with the...
Carry on stereotypes when it's about their own kind. My mom is from Balia, my dad was from Astipur. If you go to Purvanchal, Bihar, UP, morally neutral I'm being when I say this, everybody's an interesting character. Good or bad, that's for everybody to decide.
Is it taken on a view to write your books? Do you feel that the reading habit has gone down, and how do you move it?
It took me around 2.5 to 3 years to compile I've written a lot of stories, but to filter out 11 took me that much of time. Editing took around 7-8 months. And so in the whole, I can say that it took me around 3 to 4 years to be able to give shape to the Legends of Muddled. And yes, the reading habit has really gone down, and but thankfully, I have brought up my sons well. They read a lot. But if I look around, I'm appalled at the lack of reading habits that I come across in their generation. People from my generation still read, and no value judgment here. You may not have time, there's so much of pressure, so no value judgment. but I do feel it's gone down, and reading will help everybody. That's my take.
For me, it took me a year because it's a short book, and but yeah, still it took 1 year. And reading habits, I think in our society, always there have been very selective readers in our country. Like I've seen my dad read, but I didn't see my dad's cousins or the family, extended family read so much as he reads even till now. So it's very, very individual and personal. And despite you saying that it has declined, but people who read and who love to come for book sessions like here we can see today, they still like the touch and feel of the book, and they still want to read a physical book and not on Kindle or anything like that. My personal view.
There is nothing like touching and feeling a book. It's so
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Favorites on the pages.
Touch and feel all your book. So right now we should get to that soon. I know everyone's dying to, at the Kindle also and to see the books. But it's similar for me, 3 to 4 years, the process. And sorry, what was the other part of the question? Yes, reading. The reading, I think it should start from a really young age. I was an avid reader. I read a lot of fiction when I was young, of course, like the detective stories and everything under the sun. And then I went on to the self-help category big time. I read at that time, whichever self-help book was available, I read it. And some of the really thick ones. It was just what called me, and I guess this is what was to be later a door to heaven for me, So my book is kind of a reflection of all the reading I did as a child. As a kid, and also I wanted to say that people who have read my book have all said it is such a smooth read. Although it's such a story of my journey, a girl who's a dancer and goes from US to India to pursue her passion. They said I read it in 1 day. Smooth read, and that is really hats off to Anu again. She's fantastic, my professional editor. To make it a simple read, that's a task, a story like that. So it's actually a smooth one, which I think is really an accomplishment. So it's really the sentence structure and the smoothness of it, and really being very selective with the verbiage. And we all know that the creation of a sentence it's like the unfolding of words and really speaking your heart with a few words and getting the message through, So that's what that process was. I just wanted to also quickly say that it's a smooth read, but also people have said that it's caused an awakening in them. I just pulled it up. A girl from Ukraine picked up my book. She was in the UK. She was, this is just this year actually, in July. I was in the UK visiting some family, and she has come as from Ukraine. They're housing her. The government has a scheme where families can connect people from Ukraine who want to leave the country. So she's staying at my cousin's house. She picked up my book and she wrote to me, I have her message here, that I'm going to write a review in 3 languages, first of all, about your book. But I talk about you with my friends. Your story raises a strong emotional wave in me, and this certainly affects everyone around me. This wave even reached my mother, and she's very happy about my awakening.
Fabulous.
So a story like that can really touch the core of someone, and if it can cause an awakening, that is really like our mission is really here on earth, is that.
For this opportunity to learn more about book writing, because I am also aspiring. I have started already about my life, and yes, I don't know how much time I will take, because already I am hands full with my work, what I am doing. So let me introduce myself. I am Vicky Anand, and I am an aesthetician, a skin therapist, and now an entrepreneur. Basically, I was running salons, I was a makeup artist as well, but mainly my forte was skin. So I was working on skin and hair, more of it. Somehow during COVID period, I picked up with something like my clients had been calling me up, and they were they had a lot of hair fall and skin issues, and salons were off. So that is where I started formulating my own products regarding the skin and hair care. And then gradually and slowly we saw that results were marvelous, and they were wonderful. Even I got wonderful results on my own hair, and now I am about to launch those. So first I'm starting with the hair range. And in between, since I had a lot of passion for fragrances and all, so I've come up with one room freshener. That's a fragrance, room fragrance, that's floral based. Then another is the linen and the pillow fragrance. Because generally you'll find in winter, especially the quilts you are taking, the blankets you are taking, or maybe you're traveling the flight also, sometimes those blankets you get and they smell a little bit, you know. So you can just puff it anywhere, maybe in the train, wherever you are, you can puff those, the name is pillow petals. It's a very floral kind of fragrance. So that is what I'm just trying to felicitate here and some of my products will be launched on Amazon and Flipkart and all. So that's how, that was my journey in the past few years. Thank you so much.
Get it on your seats. I will just ask somebody to give it. So many from you, and I must say your products are really nice. I've been using her shampoo, which she really insisted me to use. Completely natural, and it gives a nice shine. And the lip balm, and I don't know what not. She's got so much every time she gives me.
Basically, what I'm trying to give is all natural. As far as possible, I'm trying to formulate things because I found that the market is full of all chemical products. Be it your hair products, skin care or body care, personal care. Even the pillow thing, I have added denatured alcohol, which you won't find anywhere. Denatured is, which is very healthy, you would say, in the sense it's not irritating at all, which they use for imported body perfumes. That I'm using for the linen and the pillow as well. So people might sometimes they say that it's expensive, but actually speaking, I'm using all products, ingredients which are safe for your health. I'm keeping that safety point at the priority. Great, thank you.
Wow, what a feeling. I mean, and to be in Delhi, you know, in this area is such a privilege. It reminds me of why I love Delhi. And thank you so much, Astha.
It's been a pleasure and honor coordinating and collaborating this with wonderful authors. Astha, she's been also an actress from South India, so we have a beautiful Sufi dancer, an actress and an author. And Jyoti Singh, who's a very, very talented. She and my sister go a long way. They were together in Lady Shri Ram College. So they are Lady Shri Ram College products and English honors. So wonderful, I think, panelists, and thank you for moderating it so well. And beautiful, like, thank you. Thank you for the audience, everybody. Thank you.
And thank you, Madhavi ji, from
in the meantime,
in this timings and the gifts and the goodies for everyone. Thank you so much for bringing us together here on this special day. And let's have our closing.
this side is Amit Gurmani, and today we are here for the launch that live called the Mantras for Success, and I think I am really inspired from Madhavi's book launch here at Oxford at CP. So thank you so much for having me, and very soon we are collaborating with each other related to the brand which I'm representing, the stable technology. So stay tuned for 2025. Thank you.
Thank you.